Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to the Lion's Den in Prince George, British Columbia. We are quite possibly on our last day. We're going to try to make this the last day, even though we've got 6 turns to get through. We are at the beginning of 1943. Well, just about the beginning. The Germans are just putting their stuff on right now. They've taken their turn, and I'll take you through that. If you want to know how we got to this point, then go back and watch the other videos, because I'm not going to describe how we got everything to where it is right now. The one thing that I didn't get to show at the end of the last video was what the KMT did. I think that they took Rehe up there. Is that the only thing that the KMT took down?
And I think they took northern Vietnam.
Oh, and they moved up and down, so they've stretched themselves out a little bit there. So the KMT is a major power for the first time in one of our games. Anzac is starting to move out again. The Japanese Navy has gone home, except for they're trying to pester the Americans where they can, right? Trying to make them turn around and look the other way. The Italians are just as strong as they've been all game. They're the ones that started World War II in this scenario that we've done. They were the first to declare war, so that was something unusual. And the Germans now, what they've done this turn, so they managed to take Transcaucasia, which is a pretty big deal because that's worth 5 IPP. And what else? They came in here and blitzed to here, and they came in here. Oh, you haven't gone after Normandy yet, or did you?
Oh, we did. We took one guy out, but
Oh, good. How many guys did he take off you?
3.
So he tried to take back Normandy and he didn't. And Dan managed to take out one of his, like he had 2 advanced submarines here, and Dan managed to take one of them out with this because he was moving through the zone there with his seaplane. So I don't see that they've done anything else. They have started to put a number of, because it's getting later in the game and you get more and more of these SS troops, if you're keeping up with them. Like, you have to make sure you play it right. It's a difficult set to play. Like, you really have to be paying attention to what you're doing, because you have to have them, say, an infantry in the right spot, and then you can upgrade that infantry at the end of your turn, right? But you have to make sure that there's somebody there to do that too. So anyway, it's the Russians' turn, and the Russians. I was doing something wrong here. I thought that I could only maybe purchase only 2 of my advanced weapons. These are advanced mechs, but because I was looking at Katyushas that were, you could only purchase 2 of those. So anyway, now I can purchase more of those. I got lots of militia and everything, because I'm going to have to. There's a lot of places where I need to put things in,
Sure.
and I only got so much stuff. Anyway, but before we do that, I've got 3 technology rolls, so let's just set this sucker down. And so jet fighters, that's a hit. Heavy bombers, that's a hit. And strategic rockets, that's a miss. So I got the jet fighters and the heavy bombers. I'll just set this, show you what we got here. Jet fighters, 1 away. Heavy bombers, 1 away. Now, try to get the glare off there. And I missed this one. The reason I'm going after these 3 is because there's a point that's available to me. Kind of like the technological superiority point that goes to the Americans. This is a new one for the Russians in version 3. If they have 4 different technologies, then they're going to get it. So anyway,
$1,
just let you take a look here at what the Russians look like, and then I'm going to take my turn, and I'll bring you back and show you what's happened. Okay, so the Russian turn is over, and actually I think the Japan turn is just ending as well. So they were able to take this. They took a couple of casualties. It seems like I got casualties everywhere. Panzer King is he's on fire with the dice today. But of course the Germans we're able to have this now because of me attacking the Swedes. I also lost 3 boats, I believe, right? Yeah, 2 destroyers and a sub in here, going after his 4 boats, so that sucked. But I did manage to gain this place here, and right here. I wasn't able to take this back because he had target selection with his tank destroyer, and so I didn't have a tank left. I was gonna blitz over to here, but obviously I couldn't after that. And I think that's all the attacks over here. So I put all my stuff on. I put a lot of stuff here and a lot of stuff over here.
So you're
Put a cavalry over here.
Because he can move in there. With the army.
Airborne over here.
Maritime Air Patrol.
right. I guess the way it works is if you want to go after those subs next turn,
Just
If you
slowly
go
letting you see.
maritime
So now
now,
Japan
Yeah.
they won't be able
went
to
over and
do
they took, I'm not sure what that's called now, but it used to be called Vladivostok.
because you'd have to cancel.
So he was able to take that.
Oh, okay. I see.
Unless you need to go there.
But he's in big trouble
Well, I was
pretty
thinking
quick coming up here
defending it or
because
whatever. But
one of the things that
oh, whatever else.
the KMT becoming a major power is that they can go at the same time as the Americans, kind of like the Commonwealth, right?
Okay,
So they can attack the other. So you take the Americans Navy over there, you combine that with all the Chinese guys, and they can just drop units onto
Well, let's figure this
the Japanese islands there, turn after turn after turn if they want. But that's up to Dan, I guess. So that's what happened with the Russians there, and Dan's just taking his turn. So we'll let him do that, and then we'll see what he did. Okay, so Italy's just finishing up their turn. As you can see here, the UK has moved down south. They took it pretty easily, so they're right next to Vichy France. If they can take out Vichy France in southern France there, then they can end that little war. Then they non-combat moved over all their other stuff, plus the French built a militia and an infantry, so that's going to be tough to take out. So that's what the UK did. Canada built a couple of corvettes. Is it just 2 corvettes they built?
And Princess Pat's light infantry in London.
Oh, right. Canada can build stuff in other people's factories. Just other Commonwealth or any
It's just
allied?
those 2 units, the Princess Pat's
Oh,
and the
okay.
Queen's Own rifles.
And is that just in Commonwealth countries or?
Yeah.
Okay. More and more planes flying into Spain. And Italy, the sneaky bastards, they thought they'd come over here and take this spot right here where that militia is. The militia shot him. There was one airborne and a fighter that was after him. So anyway, let's go down to the other side there. Japan. I didn't show you much of Japan because he was in the middle of his turn. He still has 4 kamikazes left, but he's a hurting unit there. He did take Vladivostok there, whatever it's called now. But now, now the FEC is completely wiped him off the continent at the bottom there. There's a guy laying in the middle. I don't know what that guy's doing up there. He's having a nap in China. But Anzac came over here, so the Anzac is gonna start mopping up down here, I think. Taking back all the money down here. So they could just focus on that for the rest of the game while the US and the KMT focus on Japan, probably. We'll see. I mean, they don't have to, right? They could just take all the Americans and go after Italy. I don't know. But the FEC has finally figured out that there's no more Japanese to kill for them. So they're making their way west now. They built a minor factory here in southern Iran, and they've moved some units over there. So that's going to be. Oh, you know, there's already. Oh, there wasn't a rail in there. You had to go through Afghanistan. I see.
I had to build one.
Weird. Okay. You know, if you would have just taken Afghanistan, you would have had some free opium there. Because that'll get you through a Sunday. Anyway, these guys down here, still a bunch of chickens. Nobody wants to fight each other. It's a good thing that that France was able to get Abyssinia there, because if it wasn't for that, with the Italians taking over there, they would have had all of Africa by now, the Axis. But because France had that Abyssinian stronghold there, they were able to hold on to that. Nothing has happened over here today, except for when we were rolling. You might have remembered at the end of the last video that we had a bit of confusion, you know, like with the Axis. Like we decided, you know what, like we're only going to roll everything once, you know. So we rolled again afterwards, and we got one that said that you placed 6 IPP worth of stuff on. So these guys got a tank, these guys got 3 militia. What did you put here? 2 infantry? And 2 infantry in Brazil. So those 3 countries, the 3 factions got to put something on for each of them. We're totaling 6 IPPs, and that's what we did. And I think that's pretty much it. What did you buy for the Italians?
I upgraded some militia. I bought some militia. I got a tank in northern or Egypt there.
Yep.
And then infantry in northern Italy.
What's that thing underneath the tank there?
Oh, it's a marker for the Italian markers, for its armored division.
Oh, okay. It doesn't kick it up or nothing like that. Eh?
No, it doesn't. It's just aesthetics.
All right. So anyway, that's where we're sitting right now, and it is America's turn. America. Fuck yeah. Okay, so we're in July now of 1943. The Germans are just finishing off their turn. So they had over $100 this time, so holy crap. It's pretty tough to make any headway when they get that much. They can actually afford 2-3 fronts.
Not really. Okay.
One thing they did do, they flew a guy in here, and then they were able to place, those are actually 2 cavalry, 2 kicked up cavalry, like SS kind of thing. And he buys a lot of militia, an awful lot of them. You are only putting 1 militia on.
Yep, absolutely.
Where it's not in Germany,
yep.
right?
Yep. Despite the value, I'm only doing that. Yeah, I looked at that 4 or 5 turns ago.
Okay. So you see the Germans here, how they've spread out. Looks like he's moved his fighters up there. Guess he wants me to take him out for him. We'll see. And then the Americans, looks like they placed a carrier over here. And Americans didn't, oh, they didn't do something over here. They were repairing the capital ships, right? Because the FEC built what is that, a minor dockyard there. And is there a major dockyard here? Oh, knock that off. So there's a major and a minor dockyard. So there's 6 there that he could repair, and he was able to repair the entire Navy at once. So that American fleet down here is ready to go now. If they want, like their options are just about limitless, but probably the most enticing target is the island of Japan, but we'll see though. He does have 4 kamikazes left, although he can only use 2 of them per turn, right? So they're limited in what they could do. And then over here, this is the biggest change since, here, let me just set this down. So huge fight in Gibraltar there. There was the Italians that held it from most of the game, you know, other than the pre-war period. But just about as soon as we went to war, the Italians have held that, and there was a ton of stuff there. But the Americans, 2 loads full, 2 turns full of guys came over. One of them in Spain was already in Spain, and the other ones just dropped off on transports this turn. One thing that Dan did do is he bombed this facility first, so that it was damaged, and when it's damaged, then you can't use it. But one of the reason he did that is because he also had this territory and this territory. So by damaging the naval facility, that in effect made this city territory surrounded. So all of the units in there, is it just the ground units or was it?
Well, infantry class.
All the infantry class units in that space were -1 defense, so that was a good move that he did there. Anyway, that's finally changed hands, but lots of casualties. Like the Americans went in with I think 12 guys, 13, and so they only have 4 left, and well, tons of planes, but both sides lost a lot of planes in that first round. I think 3-2. Dan lost 3 planes, and Panzer King lost 2 planes in that first round of air superiority there. And then the convoying's been going on, although Dan did get 1 advanced sub off with his anti-submarine warfare, but the other sub, there was 2 of them up there, the other sub took off the maximum off that line up there of 5, and another sub down here got another one. So the British not doing so well. They only got $7 this turn to spend when their turn comes around. Are the Germans just about, they're done now, aren't they?
They're done. Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's the Russians' turn. Let me just take my turn here. So we're gonna go for, who I got there? Jet fighters, heavy bombers, and strategic rockets. So jet fighters, missed. Heavy bombers, missed. Strategic rockets, got it. So I got the one thing there. This is what I've purchased over here. I only had 61 IPP there. That's the lowest I've had in a little while. But anyway, that's what I've got there. And I've got to try to do as much damage as I can, but be mindful of the fact that the Germans have just about twice as much money as I do. So that's going to make it tough. Anyway, definitely I'm going to be going for Sweden here. See what I can do in here. It's getting tough to go for Romania. It would be nice to get that back because that's worth 5, plus it's a bonus of 2 to him. So that's a difference of $12 there. It'd be nice to get that back. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the Russians made some gains on their turn, but it came at a huge cost though. They were able to take Transcaucasia, but they lost a fighter and 2 tactical bombers doing it, whereas the Germans lost a fighter and a tactical bomber. But there was a factory there, and so they didn't say that I couldn't, when you can rail a factory out. Didn't say you couldn't rail one that you just acquired, so I moved the factory out of there because he was going to take it back anyway, right? So I managed to gain a factory. That's why, like Dan helped me out there. He was like, well, don't lose the tactical, lose the other thing, because for one thing, this is worth a bonus and it's worth 5, and then you add on to that, there's a free factory there that you can steal from them. So, like I said, they made some gains, and but it came at a cost. There was that, and then there was another fighter lost. Where did we lose the other fighter? I can't remember. Oh, that was it. Yeah, so I lost 3 planes, and I had 6 planes. Like I had a really good air force for the Russians, and so now I've only got the 3 planes left, plus the transport plane. But big changes over here. So they managed to take this out pretty easily. I lost 2 dudes there, but that's not too bad compared to considering he had 4 things there. But they did take this out pretty darn handily. I don't know if they might have lost 1 here maybe. Taking out Warsaw. They took out this spot here. They took this spot. They took this spot. And I think that's it. So they took a lot, but they did lose units all along the way though, except for Warsaw. I think they got pretty easily, but that other than that, they were losing stuff. And then over here, they did take out a Mur. They didn't lose anything here. So they're looking pretty good over here, but they're still pissed off that they don't have Primorsky Kai or whatever the hell that is. Some Bajoran territory. Kai win. And they're looking pretty good over here. We'll see what happens. Like there's still 4 turns left, right? After this, I mean, we're still in 1943, but the Japanese have already gone though. So you see what looks like here on the Eastern Front and down here. Dan just tried the FEC, tried to attack the other Iranian territory that the Germans had. He lost everything. Well, he had to stop. because he didn't take anything off him. And what else did you attack with the?
I got this.
Oh, he got that for the Anzac down there.
I was able to take back Picardy and
Yeah.
bombed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and he's got the Americans had bought him
It's down here too.
a heavy bomber, so they took that in there this time and were able to take off a bunch of American factory there. Plus you see the factory at Boris is damaged as well. That was from this medium bomber over here. So the British, for not having much money, they have a really nice air force there, thanks to their friends over in America and Canada, of course. Like you always have to remember that they're split. Like normally this would be all one economy, right? Canada and Britain. So Britain looks weak when you look at their economy, but when you add the Canadian one in there, it's not nearly as bad, right? So Japan here. We'll just take you over here. All they did was put shit on and go and hide their navy. That's all they did. They're down to the point where they're putting on the Patriotic Citizens Fighting Corps. So for what is it, $1? You can buy militia. So he's putting militia on the home country there. He can put them on the home country and Okinawa, right? And then his navy, you see what's left of it is over here. Whereas the American Navy down there is down there at the bottom where Malay is there. So that's what's going on. What did the Anzac buy? A couple of militia? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, they upgraded militia.
Oh, I see. Okay. Upgraded militia for dudes. Okay. And it looks like these guys bought a seaplane, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what did the British buy?
More land units.
More land units. Those are advanced mechs, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Alrighty. So, it looks like we're heading to France's turn. I bet you France is just going to put some shit in there. And then it'll be the Italians. Okay, so we've entered 1944. And the Americans have taken their turn now. And they bombed pretty much everything they could possibly bomb. I think they lost a couple of medium bombers this turn. They were doing so much bombing. But lots of damage to go around. The biggest thing that happened, though, was that the Americans took out Vichy France. So all of the Vichy territories went to Free France. But Paris is not liberated, so it's not France yet. It's still Free France. They didn't put much on this side. They're keying on the other side for the most part, although they do have 3 factories in Madrid there, so they put some stuff in there. But the Mediterranean is cleaned out now of Axis. The Axis are shrinking. You can see Germany is shrinking a little bit up there, and Italy definitely that was a stronghold for them and lost a lot of their air force. This is their last stronghold here. This and of course the Italian home country. The Germans did move up here into Transcaucasia. I'm curious that he moved all that stuff in since they're all going to die. And what else? Over here, the Americans did take back the Philippines. You see, like the Americans and the KMT are the same thing now because, like the Commonwealth, they all go and fight together now. The KMT and the United States. So we'll see if they do get up there and start assaulting Japan. Right now, they're just taking back all these islands here. Did you do the money for this island here?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. So that's back to being Dutch now. Yeah, they've pretty much done all they need to do down here. I think the Anzac can finish them off down here, but we'll see though. You can see the Americans coming across here. They've got some stuff. They're doing a lot of land leasing. Like they gave France another fighter this turn. They gave the KMT another attack transport. Here's their navy right here. I'll stop for a second so you can take a look at that. Anyway, the Germans are taking their turn now. Oh, looks like they're done their turn. Okay, I'm just looking. He's just got a roll to make. He's got to put this on as well. But they managed to take this spot back and Transcaucasia. The Italians had attacked Transcaucasia, but the Russians defended it. So there was nobody left on there, so it was easy for the Germans to just step in there. But this is basically the only thing that the Germans did of note. They did try to carpet bomb the Russians, but no dice. They didn't hit anything. Oh, he does have 2 advanced subs he was going after this. I don't know where he went. He'll be back though. So anyway, it's the Russian turn. So let me just get the stuff for them. The Russians have finally bought their first jet fighter. Because they rolled already. I've already rolled. And they got their technology. You got that advanced subs there, James?
What's that?
Advanced subs?
Mm-hmm.
They were attacking the Canadians?
Yeah, the convoy. Oh, yeah, and yeah, that's right. That's right, and the wartime income. Okay, let's do that. Now, 2 advanced subs.
You're going after my
So there's what the Russians bought.
Your
I ran out of militia chips, so I'm just using
British
this
destroyer and your
this thing here.
plane.
Anyway, so
What do you say?
this is what it looks like over here.
4 targets.
I could go for Norway, but it's kind of shielding me from the Allies. Like the Allies would have to pay $10 to attack them, right? So I might just hold off on that. Plus, I've got other things that I'm going to worry about. I don't want to spread myself too thin up there.
What?
I want to see which way the game's going to go. It's getting near the end.
Yes.
And just let you take a look in
Yes.
here. Haven't quite decided 100% what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Just showing you before I do it.
Doesn't matter. Because, well, what did you take for cash? Did you destroyer?
Let's just see what these things. You can't lose your plane, like the Canadian plane. You can't shoot the plane. But if he takes your boat out, then your plane
The last
dies
turn
anyway.
I would have taken the light carrier. Shoot. Okay. No, all's left is the plane.
So you might as well stop then, James. It's over.
Because I got 2 hits on it now.
Oh, in that case, I'm taking the plane then. I'll leave the destroyer.
You can't take the plane. He can't shoot the plane.
Hmm.
It's over. If he's got 2 hits, it's over. All
you
3 of
can't
these
land
guys are
anywhere.
dead. Because you can't land anywhere,
If
yeah.
you own the coast, that would be a different story.
Yeah. So there you go. Did you lose any
Yeah, we lost
subs?
a
I lost 1 sub, yeah.
So there you go.
Okay, convoy.
Yep.
And he's doing a
Can
convoy
I
over
think
here.
I'm gonna need the rules
What?
because I am actually escorting.
Oh, look at you.
Oh, yes, escorting.
First time we've had somebody attack somewhere where there was an escort. Don't you have something that kicks up that escort as well?
Yep.
Anyway, I'm going to come back. Okay, so we've gone through most of the turn already now. I'll show you the Russians first. They didn't do anything up here. So they did manage to move up to here. And they actually had a pretty successful turn because they're rolling. Like I was figuring by rolling, I'd be lucky to have just a couple things left in Romania. And over here, I didn't even know that I would get that. But Panzer King had just the worst rolling this turn on Russia's turn. So I was fortunate for the Russians, not so fortunate for the Germans. So the Russians are looking really good right now. They've moved up. I expected to lose a lot there, and I didn't. Another thing they did with their strategic rail movement, they took the major factory that was in Oral Kursk and they moved it to Kiev there, so they can get their stuff on closer. And there's only 3 turns left. Like the last turn, probably not even gonna. Obviously, they won't be going anywhere. They'll just be placed. So lots of stuff there, and then of course they got lots of money too because of they're not down anything. Like they did manage to get Vladivostok over there back, and they got enough stuff over here for now. We'll see. Like there's still 3 turns left. The FEC has moved up though. Like they've come up and they're right on the Russians' doorstep. in a couple of places here. So that's a little concerning if they decide to turn on them. The Italians, all they did was just buy militia. They didn't move, they didn't do anything. They just bought about 1,000 militia and put them on. And what did the British do? Did they just move more stuff onto the mainland over here?
Bombs and
Okay,
stuff.
bombed and moved stuff over. Looks like there's only one German sub up here left, like one advanced sub, and then there's another one down there, and another one down there just for regular subs. So, and there's lots of boats and planes around, so they're they're sneaking around. FEC, Anzac, again, just island hopping over here. So here, let me just walk around over there. Yeah. So yeah, they're island hopping and having a good time. Good times. Where is the Anzac transport? Oh, up there. He took out the Marshall Islands, eh? Okay. And FEC is just moving everybody this way. Whether he goes south or north, we'll find out here. There's also Turkey there that he could go to. The French, and I don't think this is ever going to happen because the Italians have stopped attacking, and the French are putting all of their stuff up here now whenever they get it, right? So there's all that. Nothing happening in South America this turn. The Med is clear of Axis boats now. The only thing in there is just American boats at this point. I'll show you Eastern Front from this angle over here. In Germany. It's got lots of damage over there now. Teeing off on them with bombers. Anyway, getting close to the end of this turn. It's the Americans that are just purchasing now. Okay, so we're trying to move faster here because we're trying to get this game done today. This is our last chance. So just showing here, we're in July of 1944. The tech production is going to slow down. Like, obviously, he still wants strategic rockets, and he's got 3 turns left. So he's got, he's got to hit all of them if he wants to get that bonus, right? Whereas I just got my strategic rockets this turn. That's the only dice I rolled, even though I could have rolled 3. The thing is, why bother trying to get another one when you're never going to finish it anyway, right? So you see here, the Russians are up to 66, and this is all their technology. They've got everything they've started. I'll show you the Allies. This is really funny. Like, you look at Americans, and you expect them to be the highest one, right? But look at the KMT. It's up there, number 2. FEC, and then the British and Free France. And we look over here, and there's the Axis. Try to get it out of the, here we go. So, nobody's hurting for technology, that's for sure. Japan, only down to $12. Holy. Germany down to 39. They're really shrinking fast, boy. So let's go take a look at the board here. The Germans, they had moved out into here with a heavy tank, and they did some carpet bombing. They had a mech in there, and the Russians took them back, and then they also moved out a bit. What I didn't show you there at the end of the last turn was the Americans. They'd come up here and taken Yugoslavia there, so they're into Europe now as well. The FEC right now, the British are going as we speak here, so they're trying to make it into what is that, Iraq over there. That's how far they've made it over there. But I'll slow down here. Like you look here, like the Russians are there's tons of stuff in there. I don't think the Germans are going to get through there in the next 2 turns, I guess. And then here and up here. So over here, what's happening with Paris?
We are in.
Oh, I see. He's assaulting Paris right now. Okay, this turn. So lots happening this turn. Oh, and Panzer King finally, after $78 later,
Yeah, exactly.
finally rolled to what is that? Chile down there. So they got Chile. Yay! Nothing happened down over there in Africa. KMT, what did they do on their last turn, Dan?
They took back. Oh, they took
Oh, okay.
there.
And that's those guys over there?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
So
Tons
these
of crap.
guys are in Nanjing. These guys are in Korea.
Oh, I see. Okay. All
A
right.
big stack of guys.
So doesn't look like you're ever going to get to Japan, eh? You're not going to try?
Me?
Yeah.
We'll see. I think
All
I
right.
can probably pull it off this turn.
So that's where we're sitting right now. Oh, these guys here, these Russians here, they are in here where I'd moved my major factory up. It's a small city space, so I needed more space to put guys in. Anyway, we'll be back. Okay, so we're just about to go into 1945 here. Last two turns. You can see the Americans there. They've moved up to Austria. They've taken northern Italy. They did try southern Italy, but oh man, they rolled bad. And had to retreat their planes after all their land units were done. So I don't think the Americans did anything else over on this side. You can just see like he's taken the southern half of Europe down here, and then he did manage to get the Japanese out of here now, and the Americans managed to take this place right here, Hokkaido. Now the KMT, he's just about ready to start rolling. KMT is going after this, and then his turn will be over. He's just got to place his units. Well, non-combat moving place his units. Let's take a walk around the board while these guys are rolling. This is what the Germans are about to buy, and you know those British planes. The Americans have so much money that they made everybody else wealthy. So you see here the Germans finally got some territory down there. That's Chile, right? That should be there. These guys never did fight. Bunch of lily-livered. You're yellow. Looking around. The med.
Okay. Too much here.
FEC.
Yep.
Looks like disappearing Japanese flags. There's only a couple more left down here. Of consequence, anyway. And the KMT's moving north. So, we'll see you in 1945.
Gotcha.
Okay, so we're almost done January 45. It's just the Americans and the KMT left to go. Germany's Europe is being carved up pretty good here. Even the French are starting to move in. They did attack Western Germany anyway to try to whittle them down because the British and the Canadians are sitting in Alsace-Lorraine there. And they wanted to go at them, so they thought they'd take a shot at them. And the Americans are in northern Italy there. I think I showed you that. Let's just concentrate on the British. They did do some carpet bombing there. And didn't the British take anything in here?
Nope. Just
Okay.
maneuvered.
Okay. The FEC did take cars over here. And I think that's all they took. But the British did move their battleship down there. I don't know why. One turn left. It's a mystery to me. There's a mosquito. He's trying to get me here. Anyway, look at the Russians here along the border. They did nothing this turn. All they did, they bought like 15 militia and then a bunch of stuff. Got him. Stupid mosquito. Okay, so, but then you see on the Eastern Front here, just tons of stuff. They didn't do anything. The further they pushed, then the more they opened themselves up to the Allies, so that's why they didn't push any further. So they've gone to there, and nothing's happened up here. Japan did nothing but put stuff on. And I don't think Anzac did anything this turn. Did they take an island or anything?
No.
No? Okay, so
I think they just forgot to move.
Anzac. Oh, Anzac, I know what they did. They gave all their money to the KMT there, the $10, because like if you put something on here with 2 turns left, there was no way it was going anywhere, right? So, did you want to move this thing up?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Slide this over. There we go. That looks better. Okay, so this is what she looks like over here. America's got a little piece of Japan up there, but you look at the stacks in there. Probably not going to attack them. If there's any attacks, like there's a Japanese thing up there, and then there's the Russians. So we'll see what happens there. And these guys, of course, they're just they're playing tag or something. I don't know. If I was in Africa, I wouldn't just stand there, you know. Like I'd probably fight somebody.
Come on.
World Star.
Come on.
And these guys here are. Where are these guys? Where are these guys? Oh, there they are, right down there in Nanking, right? Okay. So we're just about like we've only got 1 turn left, and then we're going to count up the points. We were looking at you know how to count up the points, and it said, you know, like it listed the victory cities. Basically, it was the capital cities for all the countries, and for China, right? And it said that like those are worth a point each as well. But the way it's worded, that like you just you know, like you would count your own victory cities, but that didn't seem right. And I called Rank Carcass, and he said, no, that's not the way we played it. I tried to get a hold of Will. He wasn't there. So I did talk to Doug, and he said, no. He says it's a captured victory city. So like say if the Germans had Paris, then that would be worth a point. But France having Paris isn't worth a point, right? It's just if you've captured a victory city, because otherwise, like for Russia is way behind the 8 ball. They've only got 1 city, and the Allies have 6 of them, right? So they'd be 5 behind as soon as the game begins, and there's no way that they could catch up and pass them like that. Like not very often anyway. And the Axis is the same. Like they start with 3, they could take Paris. That's 4. And then they would be 3 ahead. Like Moscow, or I mean the Russians might be able to get, you know, Berlin, you know, probably not, but maybe get Berlin. Probably not Rome, you know, maybe Rome, I don't know. But there's just no way. Like even if they got those 2, then they have a grand total of 3. You know, they could be kicking ass and still lose the game because they don't have the victory cities. So anyway, if you're reading the rules, that's what Doug says. It should be captured victory cities that you count as a point, not just victory cities. You don't count your own victory cities as a point. So hopefully they'll make that change in the rule book. Anyway, we'll come back during the next turn. All right, game over. That was the best game that I've ever been involved in, and Panzer King says the same thing, and Dan too, but it's the only one he's been involved in. He played a half a game another time, but yeah, that really good game. Love this version 3. The Axis, they dove like what did they finish? 2 points. What did the Axis finish with? 2 points.
2 points.
Yeah. So yeah, like they got 1 for Germany or for Spain, but they didn't get the Italian point because Rome was out. And when your capital's gone, you can't score points, so they actually lost that.
Oh, so then they only got 1 point then?
What?
Well, they got 2 for the Spanish Civil War.
No, they don't, because these guys
so
can't
then it's
count
only
point.
1 point then.
Oh, the Axis only got 1 point then, and it was just because of the Spanish Civil War. So disappointing finish for them, especially when you've seen how they sped out ahead. Like I think that they did a good thing with Italy there. They jumped on the British when the British were vulnerable. The problem is the Axis drew the Americans into the war too soon, and so that's what sunk them. Because like when you're giving the Americans an extra 3 turns, I mean you're looking at that's an extra 200 IPP plus coming at you, right? and the Americans, they just throttled everybody. With the KMT being a major power, that was devastating in this game, like almost overpowered. I mean, look at those guys over there. See, it says that you can play together, right? Kind of like the Comintern, the Commonwealth, where you attack together, not defend together, but just attack. Well, you would defend together if you were in the same zone anyway, right? But attacking together, and that was devastating because the Americans, like, they supplied the Navy, and the Chinese supplied, the bodies, and they were unstoppable, right? There was nothing you could do about it. I think that the Americans could have done even better if they'd have come up to Europe here. I think they could have taken Germany out, but they didn't do too badly though. Like, they came down here into the Med, and they managed to get a lot of Europe down here. Like, they got the bottom part of Europe. One thing that was pretty interesting, they put a couple of extra factories in over here, and they built a huge air force, like just ginormous. All the units aren't on the board right now because we just finished rolling, and once you're finished, and there's no sense in putting them back on. But yeah, like it. What was the score? 1 for the Axis.
11 for the Comintern and 15 or so for the Allies.
Yeah, we think 15 for the Allies. So the Comintern, they were playing the absolute, almost a perfect game. Like, if it wasn't for the KMT being a major power, like, they had a ton of stuff here on Vladivostok, right? A ton of stuff, and good stuff too. And if they had kept that, then that would have been 2 more points, because that was like, one of them is a railway from here to all the way to Moscow, and the other one is, if you have a territory in your country that is worth something, that in your home country that you lose, then you minus a point. Like, they had many more than 11 points. Like, you can count 11 points, right? They had a lot more than 11 extra territories that they had taken. But the problem is they can only count those 11 territories, and then they minus 3. Like, here's 1, 2, and 3. So, like, oh, not that one, sorry, that one over there. So that they lost 3 points like that, right? So that would have made it 15-14, I guess. And they actually got pretty sneaky. They came in here and took this as the Russians, but the Americans, like I said, they had a huge air force. That's all they came in there with, is just planes, and just knocked out the units. They couldn't take anything out. But like, I don't know, you must have had in the last turn there, you must have had like 40-50 planes, eh?
Yeah.
Between all of your guys, like with the Commonwealth and with everybody, he must have had 40 or 50 planes. You don't see them on the board right now. A lot of them he lost too, because he was just losing them like militia, right? But yeah, Dan played a really good game. He held on to FEC really well. It was this though. I think this was the real kicker in the game, was the KMT being a major power, and we didn't know, because nothing was happening there for the longest time, so it didn't seem like much of a factor. But in the end of the game, it sure was. Like, when the Americans got into it, and when they started working together, then they were virtually unstoppable. And he did manage to get his point for the Monroe Doctrine. Last turn, he came down and he wiped out everybody else down here. So just the neutrals down there, and that's okay with the Americans, right? With the Italians gone, they lost everything. Like, they got to wait until the end of the next Italian turn, and then they lost all their units here because they'd surrendered. And then the Americans just came down and took that out. So these French guys, oh, is everybody gone? Where'd they go? They stood there the whole game. That's pretty funny. Anyway, then the British, they did get their 1 battleship in there to get that point as well, right? The British had a terrible game, like, just brutal. I'm talking about the UK here. Like, it looks like they're doing okay, but most of that stuff was bought for them by somebody else, right? Like, their income was way down because they lost Gibraltar, and they lost this, and they lost most of their navy early in the game, and so they were just hanging on the whole time. They had 1 little piece of navy left, And that what actually was pretty good. They were able to, once Germany started to turtle, they were able to start throwing things down. Germany needed a bigger air force. I don't think that Panzer King realized that he needed a bigger air force just to keep people away from him. It's, you know, like if you play Axis and Allies, you know that Germany needs an air force just to keep the boats away, and plus it's good for all the land battles and everything. But absolutely, Germany has to have an air force, or they're in big trouble. And that was one of the big factors in this game, because even with just a fairly small navy that he had there, like that's the only navy that he's got is way up there in that corner there. There was nothing Germany could do about it. He just didn't have the air force for it. Down here, Anzac has been by themselves for quite a while. Remember earlier in the game there, they'd lost everything but Sydney over here, right? Just about, yeah, and they'd even lost New Zealand, right? But then the Americans got in the game, and then Japanese, and they went back to Japan. There was no way we were going to take Tokyo out because you see how much stuff that he's got on there. But yeah, look, you look at the KMT here, and you know, you combine that with the Americans. Like those guys were the ones that assaulted Vladivostok at the end of the game. There was nothing I could do to stop them, right? Absolutely nothing. Where's all the planes from that? From these
They're
guys?
on the side.
Oh, they're just out over there. Okay. Anyway, so I'm going to pass it off to Madman Dan. He's going to tell us how we won the game here. Show us, Dan.
All right.
Show us how to play.
I don't know about that, but if I were to say why I won, I think one, I got very lucky with tech. The way that I guess General Hand Grenade plays, we each get a free tech roll at the beginning of the game. I got attack transports, which was pretty beautiful for dropping mountain infantry and artillery. As you can see over here, I must have given China at least half a dozen attack transports. Whereas I think Japan got heavy tanks.
Yeah, heavy
which,
tanks.
Isn't that great for Japan? I actually killed the one he built.
Yeah, no, actually both tanks, I think he had two of them. I think they killed one guy the whole game.
Yep, they were shitty as fuck.
Germany got jet fighters, which I don't think he built very many, unfortunately.
No, actually Italy got jet fighters. And Germany got jet fighters, but yeah, not many for Italy, none for Italy.
But America, as you might see over there.
You can walk around the table.
I'll walk around. As America, I ended up getting practically every technology, except for the one that gave me a victory point. But I got very early improved construction and heavy battleships, and I popped those off in 3 turns. And once I had those out in the Pacific, I don't think there's really much that could take me out, especially with using Hong Kongs and Malays and all their repairs for free. So that was one factor.
Yeah, that was a big difference in the version 3 game, is using your allies' bases. In version 2, you couldn't use their bases at all. In this game, you can. So that's a big difference.
What's the other big factor? I think that the Japanese failed at Dutch Pancake. It took them 2 turns to wipe out all those Dutch islands, and I think the Dutch did a really good job.
Yeah.
And
then they failed to take Australia.
Yeah, not only killing a bunch of infantry that he landed, but having enough ships left over to take out a destroyer or 2. That was pretty helpful. And I think just that, which led to KMT not falling, was huge. I pretty much just would use that giant doom stack to kind of run wherever I could. I landed in Hokkaido, I landed in the Philippines, took back practically all the Dutch islands. Good value. Yeah, I guess the one thing we messed up was leaving Egypt open, but I guess, which was pretty terrible, but I guess in the end, since, you know, less stuff that you have to control, the less you have to defend. So with that giant French stack there, I really didn't have to worry about Africa too much.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that French stack, then
Africa would have gone all the way to the Italians.
Yeah, which was another lucky thing. The French being able to pretty much win the Italian Abyssinian War.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, me foolishly retreating my navy from here to here allowed me to run it all the way to Calcutta. And Japan tried to take it out, and they eventually killed both the Commonwealth fleets, but they left themselves too crippled to
Get back home.
yeah, take it back, which was pretty lucky for me. He had a couple damaged battleships which would had no way to get back home because they only could move 2. Yeah, I think that one thing that I guess Panzer King did there, he mistakenly tried to take southern India, and I later saw that if he took Burma, he would be in a much better position because I could not possibly counterattack because there's one space between Calcutta, there's northern Burma here, I guess. Like, him holding that would have been, I think, devastating for FEC. Let's see, what else? But yeah, back to my original point. I think, funnily enough, Britain losing the Mediterranean just allowed them to focus purely on Great Britain, as you might be able to see there. Let's move it up here. Great Britain ended up having
The stuff is
pretty
over on the
sizable,
stuff
land force, which eventually took back Paris, and a pretty sizable
there. Air Force.
Air Force, which was able to kind of control the skies. And I think once you have enough, I guess, trash units to soak up the hits, which Great Britain did because all they had to build was advanced mechanized, because that's the free tech they got, and infantry. Just having a couple planes to do the hard work really benefited us. I think the last thing I want to point out is I feel like this game was pretty close between the USSR and the Allies. What concerned me is I somewhat may have left the communists in power too long in South America.
Almost didn't get them.
I almost didn't get it. It was close.
It wasn't for Panzer King attacking me down there.
Yeah.
I don't like you both. That's simple.
Which was very lucky.
So you thought you'd like Dan less or more?
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So I was able to come down with, I guess, a bunch of a couple Lend-Lease medium bombers that I came down to, I guess, Texas and New Orleans. A turn before I built, I think, at least 7 medium bombers in the airports there so I could actually reach down there. And with just, I guess, 4 infantry, I was able to take the rest of South Africa. And by Africa, I mean America.
Yeah. What about you, Panzer King?
Maybe Panzer
What
King
happened to
took over.
you?
Well, I had a good game. Because you know why? Because Berlin didn't fall, and Emperor Tojo is having a party in Tokyo right now because he knows they'll never be invaded. Well, at least not for the foreseeable future.
Watch out,
So-
there comes an A-bomb.
So yeah. So anyways, but the sad truth is that I'm disappointed. Yeah, but I loved it. You know, I absolutely am ecstatic that I lost because one, I love historical accuracy to some degree, but also the same token, it was fun to see how things could develop going a different route, and that's exactly what happened, and that's what I take from this game. You know, you're always going to make mistakes, and this is really our first time playing version 3, and it's a big, game. Like, I mean, oh, Christ, this probably took us hours and hours and hours, probably past what we should have done, but we were also learning at the same time. I'm super happy with Italy, even though Italy's the only one that's off the board right now. It's unfortunate that Rome fell. I was really hoping it would, and but then again, when they're building was it?
Wouldn't.
Yeah, when they're building 8 or 9 or 10 jet fighters here to go up against Rome, Yeah, it kind of sucks. I mean, Rome is not long for this world, that's for sure. But anyways, long story short, I made a lot of mistakes in Japan. I think Japan was the weakness in this game. As Dan said, boom. Tried going after the Dutch pancake once, twice, just didn't really pan out. Lost a lot of units. Decided to go after Australia because I thought in my logic, listen, Australia goes out, don't have to worry about them. And I mean, they're rolling 5d12. The Americans over here, is it really going to be that bad? And you know what? It pretty much got them into the war right away. So really unfortunate there. It was a bad decision, and could I have gone to the Far East Command or even back up to China? Yeah, and that probably would have been the smartest decision. But you know what? As one person said, it's kind of the cheese in the mousetrap, Australia. It's not worth anything, and it's a big distraction. I think even General Henry said that as well. But yeah, I was kind of hoping even after Rome fell that you would still get your victory points. And that's one of the biggest things I probably took out of this game too, is that, you know what, Rome is so vital, because if you win that Spanish Civil War, that's a victory point, and if Rome falls, you don't get that victory point.
You would have got more victory points than that too, because you would have counted your stuff down the map.
Exactly, and that's where I was hoping that Italy would be the big winner, because they still actually owned 5 territories that would have given them those two extra victory points, which would have given them 3 and Germany 1. But yeah, anyways, long story short, I found the Latin American expansion was a great expansion. The problem with it is it's a distraction. Turkey at war, it was a distraction. Even down here with the Africa Corps going into the Middle East, a distraction. What happened? Well, you can see France got liberated and Eastern Europe went to the Russians, and that's probably one of the biggest reasons. Other mistakes too, obviously the Americans got in the war too early. But looking at the big picture of things, you know, I love all these expansions too, but if Germany just had the chance to focus on Russia, you know, I think they would have probably done a lot better. General Henry brought up a good point that perhaps I turtled too soon. I do agree with him to some degree, but at the same token, I mean, I'm fighting on all fronts, and I'm fighting on all fronts for basically the last 18 turns, mostly, and it was only until the last 2 turns where everybody turned on each other. So I was hoping that they would see that and go after it soon, but I'm actually very impressed with Mad Van Dam. He did an exceptional job winning this game, and I thought it was all in General Henry's corner, but then I realized, wow, you know, the victory points, especially with France.
It wasn't until the last turn I was ahead with a turn left.
Yeah, exactly. And it was neck and neck, but maybe I did play spoiler with attacking here, down there, or maybe it was just because over here China was so super powered they could defeat the Comintern and the communist Chinese that had popped up there, and also in Vladivostok beat the Chinese taking that. So anyways, I'm very happy with this game in the fact that I enjoyed it so much and I learned so much, and that's what I'm going to take away from it. And I'm going to pass you back on to General Henry, Dave.
Well, alrighty then, assholes. I mean, my friends. Yeah, we had a blast up there. Like, we've been playing this over the summer here, and it's been raining like hell up here in northern BC, and I think most of BC actually. And so, you know, it was kind of good that we had this game going on the side, because it just there's nothing going on outside really. Like it rained. I've never seen it rain this much. The mosquitoes are so bad because we're in the forest. You need to dry out, right? Like, the mosquitoes come from groundwater, and it was great to have this distraction for us. And I got to tell you, like, I can't say it enough. This is a much better game. Like I thought it was, even just looking at the rules. But absolutely, once we played it, like even a third of the way through the game, you thought, wow, this is a better game. The biggest bitch I had, and if you've been with me for a while on my channel, you know, like the one thing that was really grating my nuts is that you didn't have enough money to buy the units. Like, you go out and you spend, you know, like maybe $1,000 or more on this game if you pimp it right out like I have, right? And not many people will, but I mean, it's going to cost you a lot even if you go a cheap route. But you spend all this money on all these units, and then none of them ever make it out of your tray where you keep your units, because you hardly have any money. But they addressed that big time. That was the biggest change from version 2 to version 3. You know, like making a really interesting way to repair capital ships, and the technology. Like we've never had so much technology in the game. And I love that. I loved all that technology in the game, and but you couldn't get that because you know, like, okay, you got to spend, you know, like the Americans we're getting 6 dice. How many dice were you rolling every turn? 5 for the Germans. Like that's, you know, that's $10 and $12 out of, you know, units going down on the board every single turn just from those 2 countries, right? And so lots more units in the game now, lots more. And you know, another thing I bitched about a lot was the factories, like the medium factories, how you should be able to put them outside of your home country. We played by the rules this game. So we wanted to make sure the first game we played by the rules to see how it would work. And I got to tell you, that actually works pretty well. Like if you were able to put medium factories in all over the place, then I don't think this game would have been as good. You should be limited outside of your home in order in getting units, and that did happen. So I would encourage you just to play by those rules, like leave the medium factories out. Just try it that way. It doesn't seem, reading it, like it's going to be as good, but it actually worked out really well. And you know, some countries can just take advantage of that if they could put medium factories on. Like if Germany was able to put a medium factory on here and on here, that would have made a huge difference on the Western Front, right? And they really shouldn't, because I mean, where are they going to find that much factory production in Poland? The Poles weren't going to work that hard for them, were they? You know what I mean? It's unrealistic. And so this was realistic the way it turned out that way with the medium factories, and the fact that the facilities were all cheaper, those are cheaper to purchase too. The units are a lot of them are cheaper, like the big ticket ones, the battleships, the carriers, all those things are cheaper now, right? But also the facilities, and so it was easy to buy an air base, or it was easy to buy a factory. One of the things that happened in this game that I've never seen happen before was that Russia did not torch a thing. Like they did not do any scorched earth, and they did not move any factories until later on. I moved a factory from Oral-Kursk up towards the front. That's highly unusual. Usually you see where they're moving these factories back from Germany, and what?
I think you also did one here.
Oh yeah, no, like I stole that factory from the Germans. The Germans had put a factory on here, and I moved it back here so they couldn't get it again. But yeah, I mean, like I didn't move factories away from Germany like you normally would, and I didn't torch air bases. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. I thought, no, you know what? I'm not gonna be distracted by getting transports and going over and taking Portugal or doing any of that other stuff. I thought I'm just gonna put everything here and throw everything in Germany and see what happens, right? Anyway, so that worked out really well, and we learned a lot. Like I learned more in this game probably than I have in any single other game that I played. Just more about strategy, more about everything, right? And so as I'm getting better at this game, I'm going to be able to share more of that with you. Like I've got a couple of ideas for videos that I can do now for strategy to show you some of the things, some of the nuances. And I wanted to wait until I learned these things. I didn't want to just throw them out there. I think this or I think that. Like I wanted to play the game and know that this works or that this doesn't work or something like that, right? Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this video series and watching this game with us. I know we certainly had fun, and we're gonna miss Dan. We're all going down to his place, so we're gonna bring all our families and everything. And you got a big house down there, Dan, or what, in Victoria?
Oh, yeah, I have a big yard.
A big yard. Okay, so we have to sleep outside. Thanks, Dan. We thought we were your friend. Anyway, we're sad to see him go, and so we're gonna have to look for somebody else. If anybody else is in the Prince George area and they want to learn how to play this game, we would be happy to have you. Anyway, from the Lions Den in Prince George, British Columbia, take care, everyone. This is General Hand Grenade out.